Hello everybody, my name is Bright Rose and welcome back to Minecraft. Today we are going to be remaking the world and we are going to be looking at some variations of things like small ponds and water features. So first of all, if we're going to remake the world, we have to destroy it. Yep, that'll probably do it. So we now have this nice big hole, or rather not big enough because I fail at redstone and wiring, so yeah, not all the TNT went off. There we go, now we have a nice big hole. So what we're going to do is we are just going to clean this up and we are going to start putting in the various blocks to make ourselves a nice little pretty water feature. So what we're going to start with is putting the underwater bits, or the bits that will be underwater. And what we're going to do is we are probably going to layer some things like mud and some coarse dirt around the base of this hole. I've gone around and I've just added a little sort of lip all the way around and let these sort of nice smooth going into these deeper areas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over, I'm going to place the darkest block that we've got right in these deepest parts. And then we're going to sort of just graduate the colours up until we get to the dirt around the edges. So I'm just going to put these in these recesses like this, where the darkest bits, the shadow is going to be, things like that. And then we'll begin blending it all upwards. With all the muddy mangrove in now, we're going to start going around the edge and putting in all the coarse dirt in the various places that we've got left, making sure we've got little bits like this underhanging where it needs to be, and just changing out some of these edge blocks so we've got the coarse dirt around the edge. We do want the grass to kind of come right up to the edge in some places, but otherwise we're just going to add little bits in like this to sort of get the overall shape that we want of the edge of the pond. Where we want some lighter bits in, and if we don't want to go all the way to rooted dirt, we're going to be putting in little bits of dirt like this. But of course, with the way that grass spreads, we're going to have to make sure that these blocks of dirt are completely surrounded by other blocks and not have a connection with the grass. In some cases, it may still jump because, you know, weird server things, but otherwise, this should hopefully prevent the grass from jumping over, and we can keep the dirt blocks in these little areas where we want these highlights. But otherwise, you can just use rooted dirt or any other lighter little brown block that you might like with your colour palette. Just to add a little bit of interest around the back on this slope, I've added a few little rocky areas in, but I'm not going to show you how to do that. There's plenty of videos on my channel that show you exactly how I do my little bit of rock work, and there'll be a link somewhere about this video that will show you exactly how to do all that. So if you want to learn how I do these little rocky areas in cliffs and things like this, do follow those links and you'll be able to see how I put it all together. So now we're coming to adding the water in. Do it with ice, do it with buckets, however you want to do it, however's easiest. Slowly fill it all in. We know what this is like in Minecraft. Thankfully, right now I am in creative just to make it a bit easier, so that's no problem. But otherwise, take your time, fill it all in, start at the bottom, work your way around the edges. You know how this goes. We've all filled in water before in this game. It's a pain, but you know, when doing things like this, you got to do it. So just let the water push you along as you fill it all in, and you'll get it done in no time. Now that the water's all filled in, we can begin to look for little areas where we want to add things like moss in, whether it be just the carpet or the full blocks, so we can start blending the normal grass in with the dark colour of the water. Now, you little block, you were one of those dirt blocks that has been changed because of that connection, so we are going to make sure that you don't change again. So we'll just dot a few little bits of moss around. It also adds this little variation in height that makes it look a bit more organic and kind of draws the eye into these particular areas. So we'll just finish dotting these around, and then we're probably going to start getting to the bone mealing stage where we can get adding the vegetation and things like that. As per usual with this kind of thing, it's got to involve a lot of bone meal, a lot of destroying flowers, a lot of destroying grass, and working out exactly where we want 2 tall bits to be, whilst getting rid of probably every single flower and extra piece of grass that we come across. What I also like to use in these kind of situations is some ferns, whether or not it is the smaller ones or the larger ones. It's entirely up to you and what works with your area, but I like the contrast of the slightly darker green dotted around with all the lighter green of these plains. But again, it comes down to what biome you're building this in and what overall look that you're going for. So in the end, this is a suggestion, but it's up to you. Go with what works with your build in your world, and there really ain't going to be a problem with it. As we are adding vegetation in, of course, we cannot forget under the water itself. So just diving in, throwing around a little bit of bone meal, we can add in all of this grass down here as well. Of course, I want this to be a little bit more sparing down here. So again, add that bone meal, spread it about, and then spend all your time breaking the bits of grass that you don't want to get that look absolutely perfect. There are, of course, some more advanced little bits of vegetation that you can add in that don't come with the bone meal. We've got the lily pads, we've got the drip leaves. You can add all of these little things as well, and of course some of the little designs and things like that. And you might want to add, just dotted around, some little trees, things like that, some custom bushes just trailing down towards the edge of the water. Just however you want to design it, however you want to put them in is perfectly fine. Again, it's your build. How you want to put it in is completely up to you. But these are little things that I like adding just around the edge to create the little scenes that we've got going like this, and just give a little bit of variation in height that kind of add to the overall look of the area, of the build, and make it stand out from those normal vanilla textures that you've got in the biomes like this. So with the addition of a few little dots of colour around the place to catch the eye, this build is pretty much finished. What I've also done as well is I've added a little bit of soul sand in the bottom of one of the deep areas over here to create some little bubbles, and I've also taken the trouble to just add a few little fish in here. It gives it a bit more life, it gives it that movement that a lot of Minecraft builds lack. So it really brings it to life and makes it feel like it is part of the environment. So I hope this was useful for you. Thank you very much everybody for watching. My name again is Bright Rose. Do drop a like, drop a comment, all of those kind of things in the description below, and I will see you again in the next Remake the World video. Bye bye. Well, that could be the end. Or, you know, we could ruin it just a little bit and very easily transform what we just had into a bit more of a toxic spill. You know, it still looks just as good.